I was talking to Kushal, so
Yeah.
2 episodes
Yeah.
before this, and one of the things he mentioned was a mistake he sees a lot of people making, especially in STEM people,
Yeah.
is over specializing too soon.
Agreed. Yeah.
So when he went to intern,
Hmm.
LigoSurf,
Hmm.
he went for his main field was instrumentation,
Hmm.
and he met a lot of CS majors
Yeah.
from IT Delhi, IT Bombay, and they were interning. Broadly, they were interning under the topic of ML, machine
Hmm.
learning. Yeah, machine learning.
Hmm.
And by the end of the 10-week program,
Hmm.
a lot of them were like, this is not what I want to do.
Agree. Yeah.
And this is just not as fun as I thought it would be.
Hmm.
This is not as intellectually stimulating either. This is really boring stuff.
Yeah.
Really soul deadening stuff.
Hmm.
And so, just out of curiosity,
Hmm.
did you make the same mistake or have you made similar mistakes?
I don't know if I made the mistake yet. Like
Um,
I still am. I'm yet to find out. I probably have, but let's see. But I agree with Kushal's like statement because taking a course, like all we do in Ashoka and all we do in college is just take courses, and then that courses in like doing coursework in that course influences our decision on what, okay, do I like this course? Do I like this area? I like this area. Do I want to pursue it later on? And then like I go into my fourth year saying that, okay, this is the kind of area I like. Now let me pursue it. And that's also other ways, like, you can just search up like, possible avenues of research after a CS degree and things like that and find out too. But then you kind of make a lot of your assumptions based on your coursework. And
mhm.
I just think that coursework is really unrealistic about the actual field, even if whether it's research or like industry, whether it's like tech jobs or like I'm talking from a CS perspective, of course. Or
Hold on. So even if it's a high level coursework, a high level course,
yeah.
would it still be extremely inaccurate? Would it be extremely baseless to, make claims about this research field is like this based off of your high level course?
I think even if it's like an advanced elective, let's say like a 4,000 level course,
Yeah.
like in computer vision or something like that, the way I've done, like I've been part of a few computer vision projects, like it's very different to like the theory you learn because in an elective you kind of learn like the algorithms from the basics, like the history of algorithms. So computer vision, you start off with like the primitive computer vision techniques like sift feature. Actually, before that, it's geometric computer vision, and then you move on to sift features and like feature matching, and then you go to deep learning and then the feature extraction and stuff like that. So like sure, like you learn a lot and then everything seems super like intellectually stimulating, like okay, I'm very satisfied, this seems all very interesting, but then at the end of the day you're probably only going to apply like the deep learning stuff to the course. So, and like I'm pretty sure most high level electives at least touch on like what is done in industry today or what is done in research today, like as a whole, or like as like right now. But like it definitely does not give like a full on like snapshot of what is happening at industry. Like it'll touch upon it, but like there is a lot more left to like understand for yourself when you get it. And the best way to like realize whether or not you like the field that you claim to like properly is like getting some exposure, like you said, the internship, or like even if it's like a 1 year, like that's what I plan on doing. Like I plan on using the next year as to do some research before I commit and apply to a PhD in that field. Because like what if I one hate research, or what if two I hate the field that I want to work in? So like I'm worried about that too, and I think it's a solid concern. And one of the pieces of advice that professor gave me was that don't silo yourself in. I think it was Professor Banerjee. I'm
Like into one
forgetting.
field?
Into one field, and that too, like because like research thrives. I mean, when you're doing research, you're focusing on one subfield, right? Like in a field, a specific way of looking at that field.
Right.
And when you look at that, and if you like really hug that tight and hug that close, and then for the rest of your like early career, something happens in that field that like makes it obsolete or something, you're screwed. And like you've luckily you might have learned enough in your undergraduate and your PhD that allows you to transfer skills, but like it would be a lot less painful if you kind of branch out, or like if you have like a wide toolkit available to you, like even when you're like in terms of interest as well as proficiency, so that you can like in parallel approach a lot of different fields at the same, or like subfields in an area even. It's like it's very hard for an entire field to vanish. So like but it's not too difficult for a subfield to vanish. So yeah, that I think that's something I'm worried about, and that's something that I've actively been trying to also like maintain. I also want to like be like learned in like other areas of machine learning and deep learning as well. I don't want to just go into like CNN and computer vision research, which like maybe some like huge chat GPT as like a better chat GPT. I hate large language models, but then like a real like big supermodel comes and then just like takes over computer vision and I'm screwed, right? So that's also why like working at the intersection of fields I think is like a shortcut, because you will learn two fields quite well unless you take the lazy route of just like doing stuff yourself. But if you properly do the intersection thing right, you will have like two good fields to kind of like look at and like fall back into in case of some problem, or where like your work may be obsolete, or like your work may just be wrong. You may just be like approaching a theory that just gets proved wrong. You're screwed, right? So things like that I think are fail safes that I'm considering. But again, I'm pretty sure that like I have made the mistake of like going too much into this like
One field.
niche gap or niche intersection of these two things, and I'm going to try like in
The
the next
intersection being.
neuroscience and deep learning.
Uh-huh.
So that's the intersection that I've like labeled myself or like put myself under or like in that bucket for the last year, especially when I was like applying to grad school and stuff like that. So like I want to make sure that the next year is quite like I try and pick up some other diverse interests within like or at least in adjacent fields as well.
It's kind of funny how, so you've probably heard of Bertrand Russell
Yeah.
and Alfred North Whitehead.
Hmm.
They wrote a book called Principia Mathematica,
Right.
20th century. So you heard of it, right? They're essentially, long story short, it didn't give birth, but that's like the main text. Like that's the not Bible. It's a 600-page book. Handful of people in history have read it and actually understood it.
Right.
Russell himself said the only people that I think have understood the book are Gödel and von Neumann. Russell was a philosopher, logician, mathematician. They spent like a decade on just this book, and by the end of it, they realized that then the point was to find a prove that all of mathematics can be derived from this set of axioms,
Right.
and we can have a consistent and complete system. Gödel came in, showed that this is not possible.
Incompleteness theorem.
Yeah. So one would think that those decades have been wasted.
Yeah.
And I kind of think of the same way. What if I learn programming right now, but then GPT is picking up?
Yeah.
AI is coming up. But then if you think about it this way, that going at the gym, building your muscles, getting strong. Let's say I can't go to the gym anymore, and to make a living, I need to start playing a sport. Person who goes to the gym is going to be in a way better position to play some sport than a person who does not.
Right.
So even if your field becomes obsolete or gets taken over by some other field, and you've already built your mental machinery enough to jump between fields. You've probably noticed how experts on a certain discipline pick up other fields way more quickly than novices who have more time, which is pretty surprising. You see, physicists can pick up things really quickly, at least from my experience.
Yeah, that's why I call them the best, like, best decision you can make in an undergraduate degree. If you're interested in STEM, major in physics. Like, I should have done that.
Oh, you should have done that in hindsight?
I think math or physics.
Wait, so why not? Wait, when this realization hit you? Was it like a slow burn?
This year, fourth year. Math, I think it started hitting me in my third year, but I was like doing LA and like really loving it. But then physics, I understood now, because like this studying complex systems and things like that, or like you study that very early on. Like I'm not sure about how early on in your curriculum, but you study that even in your undergraduate degree in physics. But then this like things like that get really useful when you're studying like proper like neuronal systems. Like in fact, a biology major is less likely to do well in like a theoretical neuroscience like research degree, or like a master's degree or something like that, compared to a physics major.
No.
Yeah. Even if it's just like a normal neuroscience major in undergraduate, I think a physics major would do better, because a lot of theory that's like coming out in the recent few years, it's very physics, complex systems, dynamics based, which I think a physics person would just do better at.
Do you say that with the hindsight that I should have done physics because I feel like that field was more interesting to me, or because I should have done physics because what I'm doing right now uses a lot of physics? There's a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference, because like I took like a physics course, and I've taken computational physics in my last semester, just as like fun, my ASP or whatever. So I didn't want to take all CS courses, and that made me realize that physics is still like nice. It's interesting, and then a lot of the physics courses at Ashoka are very computational in nature. That's why I think like the physics majors in my batch can code better than the CS majors in my batch. So like I don't think that I would have still like, you know, I would still be solving computational problems. I would have liked it, and but I would also be learning a lot of like pure mathematical computation stuff that would have helped me understand systems better, and that would be applied to like areas of interest like that I currently possess, like like theoretical neuroscience, understanding how the brain works and things like that. Like you are much like are trying to understand it from like the biological single neuron perspective. It's not going anywhere. Like that's been the you know, I mean, I'm sure it's like moving, but it's moving very slow. But then in recent times, it's been more like you're looking at it at the population level. You have like a billion neurons, and then the activity that the neurons kind of exhibit, you kind of examine that from like a complex systems perspective, or like a computational dynamics perspective that holds more value right now, and that's, I think people are using that a lot more to kind of progress the field compared to like the biological insights that people give.
So it's more statistical, I'd say.
Yeah.
Rather than more deterministic, as it used to be, perhaps.
Yeah,
That's because I didn't understand half the terms you used.
Okay.
It's the first year. A lot of the physics majors that I meet, so physics is a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
So Kushal was talking again, Kushal. He talked about one of his semesters when he got a lot of FOMO because he was spending his weekends just working, grinding physics coursework, while he saw his economics friends go partying and all. No shade on economics, but physics requires a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, if you could go back 4 years ago, would you pick physics?
I think I would at least have my mind more open to physics.
I know one of my friends he was talking to you.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah. I was coming out of lip cap and then I saw you guys and I'm like, wait, how do you know Niranjan?
It was an IEEE, so
yeah.
That's crazy that you guys know each other. I'm like, it's a very similar conversation we had, at least the one we're having right now. I'm not sure if I would like I can't commit to like my first year self taking physics. In 11th and 12th, I didn't like physics too much. Like,
that's the only one you got an A and not A star, and 2 others.
Thank you. But yeah, well, like I didn't like it too much, as in like it. I still don't understand how electricity works. That's like one of my like people have tried explaining it to me. Like I've read like books about it, but like I still don't really like full like I like on paper I get it, but like stuff like that, I think physics is by nature more difficult. It's for like a more imaginative person, at least from more imaginative than me, I think. For it to like be a very like for someone to be intimate with that subject, or maybe I could develop that too, but in my first year I think I would just be more open to like taking physics and math courses. I wouldn't like necessarily jump on and say do a physics major if I catch a hold of my first year 18-year-old self, but like I would just say do some physics courses, or like try and do a math course early on, like don't drop calc in your first sem.
Right.
Yeah, things like that.
I have a question. So a lot of the CS folk that I see, or economics folk that I see, so conventionally, or actually, when I say the word humanities majors, what pops up in your head? Or liberal arts majors? Like what majors would you say classify as liberal arts?
Liberal arts? I don't know. There's this distinction, right? Like you can call Ashoka University currently as a liberal arts major. I think I still like the term liberal arts and science because only because like I think I remember when I was telling my like family and friends, oh yeah, you know, Ashoka is like I'm going to do CS at Ashoka, and people were like, isn't that like an econ university? And then like I was
back
like,
in 2020.
Yeah. So like it's you know done like getting the VC. Getting Professor Shomak as a VC and things like have done a lot for Ashoka in terms of its reputation as STEM university, and I like to think that IEEE has also helped, but because that's one of the goals that we have with IEEE. But yeah, so that was like a difficult like label to kind of navigate, and I have to talk to them about it.
Like justify
the fact that I was doing CS at Ashoka,
yeah,
and they're like, you know, isn't that like a liberal arts, economics, so like yeah, history and things like that you study there. And liberal arts, I think just liberal arts, I'd still like just even though like the proper etymology of liberal arts, I think covers like all the subjects, all the disciplines known to like, I don't know, academia. And then it's the ability to be flexible and free around your studies in all these fields. However, in like the more close-minded sense of the word, liberal arts still strikes as a humanities and social science thing, so that the necessary addition of, or the appendage of, and sciences makes Ashoka like more openly a science STEM university also.
Right.
So like there are those two trains of thought, or schools of thought, sorry. And I think I like, because of my personal experiences with like having to convince relatives and stuff that, you know, we do science, and science also at Ashoka, it's liberal arts and sciences. So just because of that, I think when I say liberal arts, I probably think of like econ, history, and like English and things like that. But then liberal arts and science takes in STEM subjects too. But however, I don't like, technically I know that everything is considered liberal arts.
Yeah.
From like the Greek definition or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the Greek definition you mentioned, it includes philosophy, physics, math, perhaps even chemistry, I think. Under the definition of liberal arts, it's not just, you know, philosophy, history, and all that stuff. Yeah. So what I've noticed is liberal arts majors compared to the more practical folk, ecofin, or what's the other practical, CS. They seem to be very two different kind of people.
Like, as in the practical versus liberal arts.
Yeah, the people who major in ecofin and CS versus, and the people who major in physics or history, perhaps. Right. So I was talking to, you probably know Rushal. Yeah, I was talking to Rushal and he's like, "Bhai, tera to acha, you're majoring in physics. Yahan par CS mein there's no community. There aren't people who are excited about projects. There aren't people who are excited about the work they're doing." And I'm like, yeah, we do find those. No one majors in physics or math because they want to make money. Yeah. You don't do sociology because you want to become rich. You do it because you're really in love with the field. You can't imagine yourself not doing it. That's why you do. And so when you do decide to major in these fields, the people you interact with seem to be much more invested in their subjects, not because of the potential paycheck they might receive, but because of, you know, just simulating their curiosity. Professor Gil Harris had like a informal coffee with Harris session, like 25th of March. Yeah. And he talked about how Ashoka seems to be becoming more, hinted at this, right? We didn't discuss it in length. He just briefly touched upon it, that Ashoka seems to be becoming more of a, there seems to be more transactional elements coming into the Ashokan education. Okay. So, and you do see that, right?
Did they explicate what he meant by transactional limits?
So I'm obviously paraphrasing, those weren't his exact words, but the whole point of Ashoka was not to, so they actually didn't even want letter grading. They tried to get rid of it, but the UGC is like, that's way too extreme. You need to give students grades. And the whole point of liberal arts education was to expose yourself to different things. But when I see my friends talking about, well, 4 years ke baad, this look good. This is an extreme example. But one of my friends like, yeah, but I want to get into AIC because that will look good on my resume. Yeah. I feel like if you wanted that, then Ashoka is probably not the best place for that. Because there's so much more richness that you can extract out of this place. Yeah. So in your experience, I'm sure when you wanted to take, I don't know, maybe a physics course or math course, you're like, I should probably focus on my thesis. I should probably focus on my CS courses because grad school aa raha hai, and I should focus on my grad school application. Yeah. So just that pressure, did you, aisa tha pressure tujhko itna?
Not really. I think what drew me to Ashoka, like, and I did apply to a bunch of places in the US too, but like due to the COVID pandemic and stuff, I ended up choosing like Ashoka for financial reasons as well, because like I didn't want to do like pay like 50 lakhs and have like 1 year, maybe more than 1 year, because like it was very uncertain times online. So yeah, I chose Ashoka because like it shared that like liberal DNA like with the US universities, the IVs and things like that. You can like design your own curriculum, you can take whatever courses you want, and then like declare a major a bit late into it. And that is something that I always liked about Ashoka, and that's something that I knew I would want to do at Ashoka. That's why I came in a little not too sure about biology, but like I was leaning to most towards biology, but also like I had these interests in computer science, a bit in economics also. But then I kind of dropped econ completely because of I saw bio and CS like really doing it for me. But I agree, like there is definitely a pressure to not kind of give in to that liberal mindset, like liberal in the Ashoka sense, the Ashoka curriculum sense, where like, you know, you can take whatever courses that seem really cool on the course catalog, and that really seems like has potential to stroke your intellectual curiosity and things like that. And like especially in my third year, I think I remember taking a few courses but then having to drop, like even calc, I guess you can count as one of them. Even like a few philosophy courses, I wanted to take philosophy of science and stuff, but then I had to drop it.
With what was his name?
I forgot
Yeah, yeah.
the name, but like I remember
Rosenhagen.
yeah, in the third year it was Rosenhagen, but in my second year I want to take it with this guy called Scott Dixon. He left. I took mind behavior with him, which was really good. I think that might be the course that made me really interested in like how humans and animals think. Yeah, anyway, so like I had all these courses that I wanted to take, but then there was this thing, the CS curriculum, like that semester was brutal, and especially from third year onwards, like it got really bad. And fourth year, there's also like capstone, there's grad schools, there's like your entire future is like right there, and like few 10 11 10 months that you have to kind of like figure out what you want to do, so you kind of like take that also easy, and you don't take that risk of taking like other courses also. But that is not to say, I think that is me being cautious. I know of people who have taken courses outside also and not kind of succumb to that pressure, and like rightfully so. I think like that, I respect that a lot. I think that is something that I would have liked to have done too, and I might have like overjudged the amount of work I had this semester, or like even the third year with that. But yeah, that's a cautious thing, but that's definitely that pressure, and especially in your first and second year, the foundation courses itself give you that, like I was really happy taking foundation courses. Like there are many people, especially in CS, who are like just annoyed by having to like I just need to get it done with, etc. I think I was of that opinion my first year, hence why I dropped calc, saying that okay, I have a lot of FCs, I need to like make sure that I churn them out so that I'm not stuck with them in my third year onwards. But then like I ended up really like liking some of them, like mind behavior, that I did not expect to like it was a philosophy course that semester, and it was great. I think that, like I said, opened up my interest in the brain and the mind and things like that. And then even literature FCs, just like some stuff that I'm really bad at too, like knowing how like other like smart people like think, like the professors who are like insanely skilled in terms of interpreting text, or like critically thinking, and even the critical writing courses, by the way, like they all like teach you so much just by like just like sitting and watching how they like are, or like how
Right.
they like interact with their course material, like the professors mainly, even the students. You can clearly see like some students may not even be doing the major that the FC is under, but they like have a knack, have like a knack for it,
Are you
which
thinking of any particular experience when you say that?
I think,
Because this is all very specific stuff.
yeah, I think like I was thinking of like literature in the world. I had it with Professor Shoikat, and then there was like the way he would like read the text itself. Like he would read it and then give his own interpretation of it, which would be like like I would just read very literally, and then he would like go into like 7 8 layers of meaning, which I would just like be like sitting on my chair, because that was also an online course, in my room, and just be like, wow, okay, crazy. And then I'll be just be eating something, and then it was like an entertaining experience also, because like I was like constantly like stimulated by it. Like I was very entertained and satisfied in terms of that intellectual curiosity aspect. And I wasn't too bored of like, like even though like I wasn't too intrigued by the material subject material itself, like I probably wouldn't take like multiple courses in it. I was like quite happy with like seeing how like people, like leaders in that kind of field, like behave in front of their course material, which is very different to how like professors in CS kind of act, because professors in CS are a bit more like, here's your work, this is how it's done, now like do an assignment on it. And it's very like but like in English and stuff, the professors like just like talk to you and like make some jokes and like laugh at it, and like talk about their experiences, how their experiences shape their thoughts on this and things like that, which, and like that, like being I don't know, turned against you, or like when you have to when it's your turn to say similar things in the discussion session. I think all that was like an insane experience, where which I would not have had if I chose like a school like IIT, or like other some like proper traditional CS school. Not that I applied to like IITs, but and I'm grateful for it. There's definitely that pressure where you kind of have to, like after you have Cs, like you don't have that like like luxury of taking it anymore without having potential risk to it. because FCs are mandatory. But then from your third year onwards, you kind of start thinking, okay, there's an opportunity cost of like, taking a course in philosophy now when I should be like focusing on my CS grades and making sure my GPA is fine so that my grad school applications are fine or that my tech interviews go well or whatever the thing is.
Right. So you mentioned about your GPA is what, like 3.8 something?
Yeah. Or like, yeah.
8886 or something.
My undergraduate, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so this is just your last year. This is not including this year because
Yeah,
your
this year it's a bit
thesis.
different. Yeah, because like ASP, like GPA gets calculated towards the end because your thesis is like 8 credits and stuff like that. But like, yeah, because we have a 3+1 degree, like your 3-year degree is like done. So you get a GPA for that. And then fourth year GPA is different.
Right. And your major GPA. How many CS courses did you take, by the way?
I have no memory.
Like 15? 17?
I would say like, yeah, 15 to 18.
Yeah, and your GPA is like 3.88 now. That is pretty insane.
I would say that the CS department, when I came in my first, like second year onwards, I guess, it was quite easy to like grade well. Like it's a inflated GPA that inflated grades that the CS department had until Professor Suban came, and then he saw that okay, like our batch had like really good grades. Like even I don't think I would even get close to a 3.8 in the current like CS ecosystem or that Suban has like kind of developed, which is fair. I like because you kind of take courses for granted. Like I remember I learned nothing in my operating systems course and I got an A. Like it was that easy. Like I don't remember even like I just remember like printing out the slides for my final because like it was like an open book thing. I printed out the slides, just gave the final. It's more about like taking exams. Like if you know how to take exams, you like do well. Like it was that easy. Like and I would like the Ashoka CS curriculum was quite bad until like recently with like all the new professors coming in. Now it's like an all-star department that we have, and like the courses are getting really good and then really hard, and the grading is also like quite set in stone, as in like only like a few people get an A. It's not really like too freely relative either. So like I would say that my GPA I wouldn't like even I'm not too like proud of it as in like I don't show it off because I don't think I deserve it. Like I know because I've TA'd for the courses where like the new rules and stuff have been established. I know that the students are like learning a lot more this time, and I'm lucky to learn like some of it too because I'm TAing for it. But otherwise, I know I would have been at a disadvantage if I'd just taken the courses there.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand the. So people tell you, ki, oh, this thing you did, that's great.
Yeah.
And then, so for me, that applies to, I don't know. I wrote a textbook for chemistry.
Okay.
During my gap year.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of people think of that as a really big feat. But I know that it was not that challenging to me.
Yeah.
So it's a bit strange receiving appreciation or praise.
Yeah.
And you're like, but it wasn't that hard. So I don't want to take credit to be that great. But
I guess it's a similar thing. But like I'm not sure how hard your chemistry thing was. Maybe you're underplaying it. Maybe you actually did like go through a lot to like get that out. So
I did do the work, but it wasn't as intellectually challenging. It's not the most intellectually hard thing I've done.
Yeah,
I can tell you that much.
Okay.
What was harder for me was, I don't know, learning logic, mathematical logic.
Right.
That was way harder. Or getting my hands dirty with a bit of real analysis from Tao's book.
Right. Okay. Dan's Tao.
Yeah. So his book has a different. He starts from the integers instead of assuming the properties of the real numbers. So that's a bit harder than your conventional approach to real analysis, which is you assume real numbers properties. Here. So